It's constant. It goes back to power, Gideon. It goes back to power. It might sound very repetitive, but it goes back to power. With power, things are preserved. Citrus industries will have to pop up. In other words, we have to emphasize a lot on pineapple, mango, pears, eben. You know eben. You know, we have to cultivate that in large. People look for jobs. They will be in citrus town. Another secret is roses. I don't know, you know roses, like if you have a traditional wedding. Do you know where we get roses from now? South Africa and Zimbabwe. And white in Zimbabwe and South Africa are the ones supplying roses to Nigeria, to a rose farm. We can go into that. That is we do weddings, birthdays, and all the other ceremonies. Planting roses is a very lucrative deal. So we can go into that. So you are very correct that agriculture, what we have done in agriculture is to micromanage agriculture. And the reason is because there is no constant power for preservation.
All right. Very well. So everything boils down to having constant
electrical power
supply in the country. Well, I've been speaking with Dr. Engineer Anietie Ukpongani, who's been talking to us about, he's presented himself, of course, to contest for the governorship of Akwa Ibom State come 2019. And then, of course, he has told us some of the things he'll likely put in place when he becomes the governor of the state.
I forgot one more thing. You have time?
Yeah. Briefly.
One of the things I'm going to set up is called Regional Economic Cooperation Authority. There's no reason why we shouldn't be commercing with Yaoundé. There's no reason why we shouldn't be commercing with Malabo, with Equatorial Guinea, with Gabon, with the neighboring states. So I'll set up a Regional Economic Cooperation Authority so that we will begin to do intercommerce, intertrading, so that a carpenter that is building a casket, which is what they do mostly here in Uyo, coffin, would be able to make enough for the people in Akwa Ibom and then send some to Malabo. You would see a fisherman in Malabo that is catching a lot of fish and then shipping a lot to Uyo in that cross trading. You get my point? So that Regional Economic Cooperation Authority will lift up a standard of not only agriculture but other things.
Basically our standard of living.
Exactly.
Okay, very good indeed. Okay, I must thank you very much. But just before you go, talking about elections which you're going to be contesting for in 2019, what do you think of voter apathy?
Voter apathy.
How do we solve that?
Yes, it's very difficult to solve voter apathy. Like I'm talking to people around the state and they're saying, I don't vote, there's no difference. But now we have a third option. It's always been two political parties in the state. Now Akwa Ibom owns CNP, Change Nigeria Party. They can visit me at nejukong.com. They can go to changenigeriaparty.com. You know, they can contact me anytime. One guy at Akwa Ibom State University Polytechnic told me, now you're coming. Once you get into the office, will you come here? I told him I will come. Okay. There's no reason why a governor should be a governor of the people, a politician should be for the people. If I'm driving along with this Uyo, if I was at the helm and I have seen a lot of piles of trash, I will stop the motorcade right there and I will call for the Commissioner for Environment and ask him, if you don't remove this trash in the next 1 hour, you're going to be fired. Right there. And I will wait in my car until that piles of trash is removed. The environment influences and nurtures the mind, as well as education. So that is what I'm promising the people of Akwa Ibom State, that, you know, give this third wheel a try. The ChangeNigeriaParty.com, the motto of the party is to create jobs. And you cannot create jobs without constant electricity. Anybody that tells you that is lying.
All right, very well indeed. We need to encourage people to, what would you say to people to make them want to support you? Yes,
you have to support me because I'm like a virgin. You know, a virgin is very precious. You know, I've lived in overseas for a very long time. I've been in Europe, in Asia, in China. I've lived in China. I've lived in Hong Kong, Vietnam. I've seen how people live. And people, when your neighbor is happy, you shouldn't be happy when your neighbor is not happy. You get my point? I'm driving to my brother's house and the road is all gallops with potholes and stagnant water. But when you go to the neighborhood, you see gated communities. What? You have to be able to say, look, let's live together as a community. let's clean up our street. You know, I was along a back road, very close to one of the politicians. When I got out of this house, piles of piles of trash on the road. We must not live like this. So I asked Akwa Ibomite to try and give me, and I'm not going to be bribing you. But you hear the message. They say when the sheep hears the voice of the shepherd, yes, when the sheep hears the voice, they will recognize it. So if you hear my message, my colleague calls it Akbani Semen. You know, when you hear the voice of the shepherd and you still want to go astray, then you know I'm not to be blamed.
Yeah, indeed. I know that Akwa Ibom people have heard you. The party is Changed Nigeria Party, and like my guest said, this is an indigenous party where all Akwa Ibom people should support Dr. Engineer Anietie Ukpong as he tries to transform Akwa Ibom State and indeed Nigeria in general. I must thank you once again for joining us in this special edition of the program, Issues of the Moment. Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
I really appreciate it, NTA, and Akwa Ibom, good evening.
All right, indeed. Thank you very much. Until we come your way again next time, stay blessed.